So hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we are going to create a food recipe app. So here you can find or you can search for the recipe that you want. So let's search for a chicken recipe. So if I search for it, as you can see that we have a nice layout, it's fully responsive, and you can see that we have some chicken recipe, and this recipe, as you can see that we are having here, is getting dynamically from an external API. And in this video we are going to create it, and you can actually search for any kind of recipe, and also you can open this recipe to their original website. As you can see that that's the original website for our this chicken recipe, and it's looking good. As you can see, we have full functional, we have the calories for the recipe and the diet level, and also the health level for the recipe, and it's looking good. As you can see, you can search for many things. So let's say that apple, so you can now get the apple recipe. So now you can see that in the mobile device it is looking really amazing, and you can search for from here. So let's say that chicken, looking good. And also you can see that that's the first page for our website or the application, and which is also looking really attractive. And if I go to the responsive section, and it is looking really amazing, as you can see. And here let's check the responsiveness. You can see it's a great layout, and it is dynamically getting the layout according to our device width. So in this video, that's what we are going to make, and hope you will like it. So no more talk, let's dive into it. So today is the day 22 of our 30 days 30 submits challenge, and for the day 22 we are going to create this food recipe app. And if you are interested to check out this 30 days 30 submits challenge repo, I will link it in the description, where you can find all the interesting submits that I did in this 30 days 30 submits challenge. So you can come here in this repo and find all the submits, and if you come, please give it a star and I will appreciate it. So for this food recipe app, I am inspired by DevEd. So in DevEd channel, he made a video. So he made a food recipe app with React.js. So instead of React.js, we are going to use vanilla JavaScript, and we will also make the similar kind of video. And if you are interested to check out this video, I will link it in the description. So this will be the similar kind of app with React.js. So now let's come back to our vanilla JavaScript app. So here in our HTML, first of all, let's keep a boilerplate here, and in the body I will have a section, and in the section I will have a div with a class of container, and in this container I will have a h1 where I will also have a class of brand. So this will be something like logo, so brand, and here I will have the recipe, so recipe app. So this is the logo or brand, and after that we will have our form, which is the search form. So we will not have any kind of action, and inside the form we will have the input. So we will have an input, so this will be a text, and also the placeholder will be something like search your recipe, and that's it. And we will also have these dots, and if I save and refresh, I should see the inputs and also the title here. So after that, let's also create another div after the form, which will have the search result, and here in the search result we will have our result. So for now, let's actually create some placeholder result. So we will have a div with the class of item, and here we will have our image for the result. So this will be the recipe image. So for now, let's also have the placeholder image. So now you can see that we have this image, and we are going to use this image as a placeholder, so we can use it here. So let's say that image 1. So now you can see that that's our image. So after that, we will have our flex container div. So div with the class of flex container. So here we will have two things. First one is our title for our recipe. So this will be something like class of title. So after that, we will have a placeholder title. So for now, let's say that this is a recipe. And also we will have a button. So let's have an anchor tag here. And for now, let's have that link. And we will have the button text, which will be the view recipe. And also after this flex container div, we will have a paragraph. So let's have a paragraph with a class of data or item data. So that's the paragraph, and inside the paragraph we will show the calories of the recipe. So calories. So let's say that for now 120, and if I save, I should see all the information down there. So let's also have two more items. So I will just duplicate it two more times. So now if I save, I can see my all items here. So perfect. So that's it for our HTML, and let's actually link our style sheet here. So link CSS. So here I will use Nonito fonts. So let's search for it. So Nonito. So that's the font, and here I will use this one, which is the semi-bold 600. So grab it, and from the import tag, just copy the import tag and paste it in our HTML, in our CSS. So after that, let's actually style this app here. So first of all, let's actually remove all the unexpected gaps. So let's say that padding will be 0, and also margin will be 0, and also say that box sizing will be the border box. And if I save, you can see that we don't have any kind of extra gap anymore. So after that, let's actually have a image style here. So the width will be 100%, and the height will be also 100%, and also say that the object feet will be the cover, not the contain cover. So now if I save, as you can see that now our image is kind of resized. So after that, let's come to the HTML and say that font family will be Nonito. So Nonito, and after that font size will be, let's say that 12 pixel. So now you can see that the font is changed here, and also let's come to the section here. So section, so min height for our section will be 100 VH, and the width will be 100%. So width 100%. And also let's have that display flex, and also align items, center, and justify content also center. Now if I save, we can't see anything because now you can see that this image is big, that's why we can't see that. So what it will do, actually it will keep everything, means the content, in the center of our website. So perfect. And after that, let's actually have some padding in the top also. So padding, so let's say that 100 pixel top and bottom, and 0 pixel for the left and right. As you can see, we have the gap here. Also let's have a background color. So background color, and I will have a blackish background color. So let me copy the color here, so here, and paste it. You can see that now the background is kind of black. So after that, let's come to the container. So container, and here let's say that the width will be something like 90%, and I want the height of something 100% or auto, and also let's say that max width will be about 1200 pixel, and margin will be 0 and auto. So now it will remain in 1200 when we will go to the large device. So we have a typo here actually, so it should be container. So now you can see we have this gap here because we have 90% of our width, but in the large device, as you can see, that the width of our container is 1200 pixel. So looking good. After that, here in our brand, so brand, let's say that the text alignment will be center, and also let's say that the font size will be also 4M, and color will be white smoke, and also let's say the margin bottom, so margin bottom will be something like 30 pixels. So if I save, as you can see that we have our little title here. So after that, let's actually style this form here. So in our form, so we can say that the width will be 90% and the max width will be 400 pixel. So after that, let's also say that margin, we will have some margin in the top and bottom. So margin will be 20 pixel and auto. So auto because we want this form container in the center of our website. So you can see that it is now horizontally center. So after that, what I need actually, I need to center my input. So if I come to the form input, so form input, and say that width will be 100%. So now you can see that that's the form, and the input width is now 100% of our form. So what I need actually, I don't need any kind of background for our input. So let's say that background color, so background color will be transparent, and I want the background actually in our form. So background color, and I wanna have a color. So let me copy the color here. You can see, so that's the background color that I want. So now what I need actually, I need to have some padding in our input. So padding will be something like 10 pixel. So after that, let's say that border radius, so border radius will be 4 pixel, and also let's say that I will not have any kind of border here. So border none, and also let's say that outline also none, and also let's increase the font size. So font size will be something like 2rem. So if I save, as you can see that that's our search form, and also you can see that the border radius is not applied. Actually, let's give it in our form instead of this input, because the form having the background color. So if I give it, so now you can see that we have the form, and also we have this border radius working perfectly. So after that, let's actually say that I wanna display it inline block, and that's it for now. And instead of these 100%, I wanna use it 90%. So because I wanna have also a icon, so 90% for our input and 10% will be for our icon. So let's actually have the icon. So for the icon, I will use ion icons. So you can come here in the ionicons.com, and here you can find some solid clean icon, as you can see that here. So let's search for search icon. So search icon, so we will use this. So let's have the field one. So grab it and copy the tag and use it where you wanna use you wanna get the icon. So I will use it after the input, as you can see. So after that, I wanna add the CDN here in our file. So to have the CDN, you can come to the usage and just copy this script tag from here and paste it before the closing body tag. So now we have our CDN, and we should see our icon also. So that's the icon, as you can see that. And what I need actually, after the input, let's also grab the ion icon. So ion icon, and here let's say that the width will be 10%, and if I save, So you can see that we don't have enough space, so let's actually make it 9. And if I save, now you can see that it's working. And after that, let's say that font size, I wanna increase it, so let's make it 3 rem. So save it. Now you can see that now our this icon is showing perfectly. So now I wanna center it vertically, so for that I can use some negative margin. So margin will be -8 pixel. So now you can see that it's kind of centered, -8. Yeah, that's looking fine for now. And after that, actually let's change the color of our icon. So we will use a blackish or grayish color, you can say. So if I save, now you can see that it's something like grayish color. Now let's go to the search result. So here in our search result, here say that margin top will be something like 50 pixel, and also the width will be something like 100%, and display, I wanna display them as a grid. And also grid gap will be, so I wanna have the grid gap of 25 pixel. So now actually let's have the grid template. So for the grid template, so I wanna have a auto for the row, and for the column I will use repeat, and I will use auto fit, so it will be fit automatically. And I wanna have a min max here. So minimum it will have 300 pixel, otherwise it will go down to the new row. And also the maximum it should have 1 FR. Now if I save, as you can see that now it is perfectly in placed. So minimum value will be the 300 pixel, and now you can see that it's looking perfectly. So in the mobile you can see that we have now 1 column, and whenever we will go to the large device, the column is now 3, as you can see. So after that, let's come to the actual item here. So in the item I can say the width will be 100%, and also I will have a border radius here. So border radius will be 8 pixel, and I will have a background color. So background color will be, so let me copy the background color. It will be slightly light color that we have in the background. So if I save, and you can see we have this light color for our item. So after that, let's have a padding here. So padding will be 15 pixel. Yeah, looking fine. And also let's have the overflow hidden. So after that, let's also resize the images here once again. So in the item we have the image here. I will say that the width will be 100%, and also the height will be something like 300 pixel, and also the border radius will be 4 pixels. So if I save, now you can see that all of our image is resized perfectly. And that's it for our image. And after that, let's also style this flex container. So that's in the item, and I can say that flex container, and here let's say that the display will be flex, and align items will be center, and also justify content will be a space between. So now if I save, as you can see that that's our title and that's our button, and both are staying in the same row, and we have the space between in the justify content. So now let's come here in the item, and we have a title here. So we can just grab the title and say that the color of our title will be the white smoke, and also the margin I want have in the top. So margin will be 20 pixel in the top and 10 pixel in the right, and 0 and 0 for the bottom and the right side, sorry, left side. So after that, font size will be about 1.8 rem, and also font weight I want to have 400. So if I save, as you can see that the title is looking good. After that, let's actually style the button. So button, so I can grab it by the class, which if I come here, so let's actually grab it a class. So class will be the BO button, and let's style it with this class. So BO button, and here let's say that the text decoration. So the text decoration will be none. So if I give it that, sorry, we have a mistake here, so it will be actually the curly braces. So it's not working. Actually it's working. You can see that the last one have no kind of text decoration, so we need to actually give it to our every item here. So in our every item, just paste the class name in the button. So now you can see that it's applying perfectly. Now what I can do, I can say that text alignment will be center, and after that width will be 130 pixel, and after that we will also have some padding here. The padding will be 10 pixel and 0, and also let's give it a background color. So background color, so it is a light dark color. If I save, as you can see, so that's the color for our button background. And after that, let's say that the color of our text will be the white smoke. So after that we will have our font size here. So font size will be something like 1.4 rem, and we will also have the font weight here. So font weight, I don't need, actually I have only one font weight in our full project. So perfect. Here I can just say it here. So font weight 600, so it will be applied. So after that, let's come here and say that margin top here I wanna have something like 20 pixel in the margin top. Now it's looking perfect, as you can see. Now let's say that align self will be flex start. So looking good. And now what I need, actually I need to style this data here. So I can say something like item data. I believe that's the class that we used in this paragraph. So the color of this will be the white smoke, and also let's have the display block, and also let's say that the margin top, so margin top will be something like 10 pixel, and also we'll have a font size of 1.4 rem, and letter spacing 0.05 rem actually, so 0.05 rem here, and line height will be 2 rem. So now if I save, as you can see that that's our calorie or data. So looking good, you can see that. So let's come to our JavaScript part here. So in our JavaScript, first of all, let's link the JavaScript file. So after the CDN of our icon, let's have the script one more. So we script, and here let's link the JavaScript file. So in our main.js, first of all, we need to grab our form, search form. So constant search form here, and say that document dot query selector. So I can grab the form with the tag because I have only one form in my website, so this will work for now. And also let's grab the search div here. So search result div, so that's the search result div that we have here. So in this div we will have all of our search. So let's actually grab the search result div. So document dot query selector, and we can grab it by search result class. So search result, and now we have the search result div also. And also let's have the container here. So we have the container and document dot query selector, and we can select the container with the class of container. So now we have these three things, and let's say that whenever we will submit the form, we wanna do something. So let's say that form dot add event listener, not that, search form dot add event listener. So I wanna add a submit event. So submit, and here I will have my arrow function whenever I will submit the form. And in this arrow function, let's pass the event here, and now I can say something like e.prevent default, and it will prevent the default behavior of our form. And after that, what I wanna do, actually I wanna get the value of our search. So let's have the search value. So let's actually have a let variable for that. So search query. So this will be the search value. So for now, initial state, we will have an empty string, but whenever we will search, we will get the search query. So search query will be in the event, we will have the target, and from the target I will get the input. So let's say that query selector, and have the input from the search form. So we'll have the input, and from the input I want to have the value. So we now have the value inside of our this search query. So now what I can do, I can console log it to show you. So console log the search query. So if I save it and open my dev tool here, so console log, and let's say that hello, and if I enter it or submit it, so you can see that that's the search result, or you can see that that's the search query that we have in our input. So also say that hello bro. So now you can see that we have our search query perfectly in our search query variable. So perfect. Now what I want to do, actually I want to fetch it. So for fetch the API, we will use AdamM API. So if you come www.adamm.com, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I believe that's the one. So sorry for that if I am wrong. And if you come to this website, you have some API. You can see that we also have the nutrition analysis API, and also we have recipe search API. So this is the one I am going to use. So come to this website and create an account. It's free. You can create an account very easily. After the login, you can come to the application, and I believe here you will find your recipe API, or you can create a new application for the nutrition analysis API or any kind of API they provide. So I will use recipe search API. So you can create also here new one, and I will use this existing one. So let's come here and view it. So you can see that in this API or our test app, we have a application ID, and also we have a application key. So we need to use those things in our website or in our application. So just copy this application ID first of all, and create a variable for it. So constant app ID. So app ID. So inside this app ID, create an empty string and paste the app ID that you copied from the website. So also let's have a constant for the app key. So app key. So let's create a empty string, and let's come to our website here, and that's the app keys. So just copy this and paste it in your app key variable. So now we have the app key and also the app ID. So how we are going to fetch the API? So for that, you need to come to the documentation. So come to the documentation and search for recipe search API documentation. And here you can see that we have this documentation for recipe search API. So if you can see that we have our base URL, which is api.adamm.com. So I can just copy this base URL, copy, and also I can create a variable for our base URL. So base URL. So I will just have this backticks here, and inside the backticks I just need to paste it. So why I am using backticks here? Because I want to have some dynamic JavaScript inside of this string. So for that I need to use backticks. Now I can directly change or manipulate this inside of our string. So now if I come here, and if you can see that for the parameter of our API, we can use these all parameters. So for the first one, we need the query, means the search item or the search query. So you can see that, for example, q equals to the chicken, we can use anything. So that's the query, and we can also have a application ID and application key. So those are the things that we are required. So you must need application key and ID to fetch the API, and also you need a query here. So without these things we can't actually fetch it. After that you can see that we have also some optional parameter here which you can use to your API based URL to get or manipulate the search result. So we will see it. So for that, first of all, create those parameters. So first one is the queue, and we also need the app ID and the app key. So let's get back to our base URL. First of all, we need to have a question mark, and after that we can say that queue equals, we can say anything. So for now let's say that pizza. So I wanna search for the pizza, and after that we will have our app ID and app key. So for that what I need a %, and after that we will have our app ID. So app ID and equals, we will have our JavaScript expression here, and we can use our JavaScript. So the app ID is this one, so we can directly use it now. So app ID, and also we will have our app key. So now after the JavaScript expression we can again say that %, and app key, and here let's say that equal, we will have our JavaScript expression once again, and we can say that app key. So not that, sorry, app key actually. So now you can see that we have our base URL ready to fetch with the API. That's the base URL actually, and after that we have our all the parameters. So for that, first of all we need this question mark, and after that we can use our parameters. So we can say that queue, and the search query will be the pizza, and for the next parameter we can separate them with this %. So the next parameter is the app ID, and that's the value. We used JavaScript expression here. So after that we also have another parameter here. So we separated this parameter with this %, and also again we used JavaScript expression. So now we have our base URL ready to fetch and actually fetch it. So in our this event listener we will call a function which will actually fetch the API. So let's call the function and let's name it something like fetch API. So fetch API. So let's say that that's the function. So we will call it after we get the search query. So when we will call it, we need to also create the function here. So let's say that async. So because we are going to fetch an API, so that's why we need to use it async way. So let's have the async here and say that function, and here I will have my function name which is the fetch API. So that's the function name for now. So now what I can do is we can cut this base URL and paste it inside of our this fetch API function that we created a moment ago. So now we have this base URL, and now we can fetch it directly. So let's actually fetch it. So I'll have a constant which will have the response of our fetch. So response, and say that fetch, and we will fetch the URL which is the base URL. And that's it for now. And also make sure that you have a await when you use this fetch. So now we have our fetch, and the response is now in this variable. So let's actually console log this response from our fetch API. So response, and if I save it and come here in our console log, and let's actually have a search here. So pizza, and whenever I will search it, as you can see that we have a response here, and that's the response. And if you can see that the status is 200, so it's actually saying that we successfully fetched the API. So after the fetch API, what we wanna do actually, we wanna convert the response into our JSON. So for that I can say something like data equals to, so we will also use await, and we will say that response.json. so this will convert our response into the JSON, and we will have our JSON into this data. So let's actually console log this data here. So if I open my inspect and console log, and here let's say that pizza, and you can see that we have a problem here, or we have an error, data is not defined. So sorry, not date, it's data. So pizza once again, and if I console log it, as you can see that we have our these all things here. So now you can see that that's our data. In our data you can see a hits array, which is the result. So for now we have by default 10 result, as you can see. So also we have this count, means how many possible result they have. So they have 13,000 result. From 13,000 result we are only showing 10 result in our website, or we are getting 10 result here. So also you can manipulate this. So you can see that also form and to. So he is saying that we are showing from 0 to 10, means we are showing this 10 only result. If you want to show more, you can also manipulate these two. So let's say that I want to manipulate this. So here in our base URL we can add a new parameter. So create a ampersand sign, and after that let's actually say that to 20. So if I save and create a new search, so pizza, and let's open my console log here. So you can see that now our 2 is 20, and open my hit, you can see that now we are hitting 20 result, as you can see that from these 13,000 results, as you can see here. So now we can show our 20 result in our website. So with this form and to, you can actually create pagination. So let's say that from our first page it will show from 0 to 20, and after that it will show 20 to 40, and after that in the third page it will show 40 to 60. So that's how you can use your pagination. So for now we will not use any kind of pagination, we will only show these 20 result in our page. So that's it what we are going to do. So after that here actually let's pass these data inside of our another function where we will generate our HTML. So let's create a function for our generating HTML. So generate HTML, and in the function what we will do, actually we will pass a data. So we will not pass the full data, we will pass only the, if I come here in the console, so you can see that, so that's the only data we have, and inside the data we have a hit here. So I wanna only pass the hits. So for that I can say something like data.hits. So now we are sending only data.hits array inside of our generate HTML function. So let's get the function here. So function generate HTML, and inside the function we have access of our hits. So we can call it something like results, and here let's say that for our results we can map it. So let's say that results dot map, and here for our each result what we can do, we can pass a function. So in this function for our each result we will generate an item. So for that what I can do, I can create a constant in our function, so which will have all the items HTML. So we can say that generated HTML here. So first of all it will be empty. So in the initial state, as you can see that we have an empty generated HTML. So whenever we will loop through every item, we will generate a new item. So for that I can come here in our HTML, as you can see that that's the item that represent a recipe card here. So grab it and copy it, and actually here in our map here what I can say, now whenever we will loop through each of our result, we can generate or we can make this item. So we can do something like generated HTML plus equal, we can pass the copied text here. So before that let's actually create a template string, and inside the template string I will pass it. So now what we have, so you can see that whenever we are looping through these results item or results array that we are getting from the data, so what we are doing is we are creating a HTML item every time we are looping through this array. So it will create the HTML item and it will add to our generated HTML. So in the end we will have a 20 item. Okay, and what I wanna do, actually I wanna apply these 20 item, or I wanna append this 20 item in my this search result div. So for that I can say something like search result div dot inner HTML. So I want to change the inner HTML, and the new inner HTML will be this generated HTML. So let's say that generated HTML. So now if I save and let's have a pizza one, so it's not doing anything. So let me see. So we have a console error here, as you can see that assignment of a constant. Okay, so you can see that we have a constant, but we are actually updating this constant. So you can't update the constant actually. So for that, make it a let variable so that we can update the generated HTML. So now if I save and have a pizza query here, so now you can see that we have a problem. So what is the problem here? So the problem is, as you can see that we did a mistake. So it's generated HTML, not the generated HTML. So generated HTML is a function. Generated HTML, this one is a variable only. So if I save and hopefully it will work now. Yeah, as you can see that we have now 20 results, as you can see here whenever we will search. So let's actually change the image, each of them. So for that, if I come here and in our console log, so that's the heat that we are actually looping through. So inside of this heat we have a recipe, and inside of this recipe we have an image which have the image URL, as you can see. So let's use it. So for that, here as you can see that we are using this image, and actually let's create a dynamic image URL. So let's get back to our JavaScript with the JavaScript expression here, and we can directly call something like results dot recipe dot image. So that's basically we are doing here. So we are now here, which is the results, and inside the results we have the recipe, and inside the recipe we have this image. Okay, so now it will dynamically change the URL. So let's actually save it and give it a try. So in our document, if I search for pizza and enter, so we have a console log error here. So image of undefined, sorry, it's not the results anymore, it is actually the result, as you can see here. So pizza, and as you can see that the picture of the image, as you can see that it's now updating automatically. So now we have 20 results, and 20 results have each their own images, as you can see. So perfect. And after that, let's actually change the name or the title. So for the title, if I open my console log, we also have something here, level. So inside the heats we have a recipe, and inside the recipe we can see the level here. So let's get this. So we can say something like result.recipe.level. Okay, so let's get it. So I can say something like, inside our JavaScript expression I can say result.recipe.level. So if I save it, so now we should have our this title dynamically, as you can see that now we have perfect title here going on. Perfect, as you can see it's looking good. And after that, let's actually change these calories. So to change the calories, we have what we have. If I open my console log here, so we have these calories, as you can see. If I open one of the result, we have the inside the recipe we have these calories here. So let's actually show it. So we can remove this and create a JavaScript expression, and here let's say that result dot, I can say recipe, because it is in the recipe dot, I can now just call this calories. So calories, and now you can see that we have a calorie, but this calorie is having a large number of decimal, as you can see, but we don't want that. I want the 2 number after the decimal point. So for that I can say something like dot to string, sorry, dot to fixed actually. So to fixed, so inside that I wanna pass the number that we wanna show. So I wanna show 2 number after the decimal point, so I pass the 2 here and save it. And now we should have the dynamically recipe here, the calorie here. So pizza once again, and now you can see that we have the pizza calorie dynamically changing according to the pizza or according to the recipe. So last, what I need actually, I need to activate this button. So what I wanna have in this button, I wanna have the actual recipe So for the actual recipe we have a URL here. So inside the recipe you can see this URL which will show the actual recipe for this card, as you can see. So we can link it with this anchor tag. So in the anchor tag we have this button, and for the href we have now that link. So we will have a dynamically link here. So for that I can say something like it's in the result we have a recipe, and inside the recipe we have the URL, and also make sure that the target is the blank underscore blank actually. So now if I save and say that pizza, and if I search for pizza, and we can now open this recipe, and if I click it, as you can see that it's opening to another website where you can find this recipe information, all the other thing that you can use to make this recipe. So perfect. And also you can do one more thing, you can also add some interesting facts, something like if I open it, so you can see that we have here what we have. So we have the diet levels, so also we have something like these health levels, as you can see. So you can also use them, or you can also use the ingredients, as you can see that that's all the ingredients that you need to make this recipe. So you can also add this in your website. So for now I will not use them, so I will use only this health level, and also the what was that, I want also the diet levels. So these two levels I want to add, so it will be similar that we have here, so these calories. So let's create two more copies of this and say that diet level, so diet level, and here for that I will have, I don't need all these things, so I can say something like in the result I have the recipe, and inside the recipe I'll have this diet level. So diet level, I believe that's the one, and also we will have a health level, so health level, and here I just can say only the similar thing. So it is in the result, we can call the recipe, and inside the recipe now we can call the health level, so health level. So let me check it once again. So if I open my console log here, I can see, so you can see that it's in the result we have recipe and we have these diet level. So in the recipe we have diet levels, actually it's levels, and also I think it's also the levels, so we can also these health levels. Perfect. So now if I save it, and let's have the pizza. Now you can see that the diet level is now empty for this one, and but we have the health level. So going on here, so also you can see that this one have the diet level which is the balanced. If you want you can do something like that. So if our diet level dot length is higher than 0, means we have a diet level higher, and then we want to show the diet level, so which is this one, and past it. And else what I want to show, I want to show that no data found. So it will work, I believe. So pizza, now you can see that we have now no data found, but whenever we have this diet level, so it's showing the length. Actually I don't need the length, I want to show the actual diet levels. So as you can see that no data found, and whenever you have the actual data for the diet level it will show you, otherwise it will show that no data found. So that's it. As you can see, looking good, this amazing app. And let's actually search for chicken. So whenever you are searching, as you can see that whatever you search it will give us the result for the pizza, because if you can notice or if you can remember here, and we made this base URL, we set the query for only the pizza. So let's actually dynamically change this search query. So to change this search query, we need to cut it and create a JavaScript expression, and inside that we can use JavaScript. And here let's say that I wanna use the search query that we will get from our this input. So for that I can say something like search query and save it. And if I come here now, I say chicken. Now you can see that we are having now chicken recipe here. And after that, let's also have some fish recipe. Yeah, looking fine for now. And we don't want these demo recipe card anymore, so let's actually remove them. So here, if you want, you can keep one so you can get the reference, and after that I will just remove these other two. And if I save now, as you can see that we don't have any kind of things, or we don't have any kind of card, but whenever we will search it, so chicken, now you can see that we have the chicken recipe here. You can increase the logo name and also this item, or sorry, this search item. So for that you can do something like, so I wanna have the initial class here. So this class will have when you will come to your website first time. Whenever you will do one search, it will remove the initial class. So with this initial class, now you can have some style. So let's increase the font size. So let me copy the class here and paste it here. So you can see that I am saying that whenever I will have the initial class, I will change the brand font size and will make it 7 and RAM actually. So you can see that now our font size is bigger, and also we can do something like dot container and initial. So what is going on? And here you can say something like form. So now you can also change the form max width. So max width, let's say that 800. So we'll have a bigger font, sorry, bigger form here. And also you can change the input. So let's say that copy this selection and paste it here, and let's say that the input will be something like the padding. I want to increase it, so the padding will be 20 pixel, and also the font size will be about 3 rem. So now you can see that now our this brand name and also the search form is kind of bigger, and whenever I will search it a query, or we will search a recipe, what we will do first thing is we will firstly remove this initial class. So we will back to our normal site. So for that, what I can do, whenever I will generate the HTML, I wanna say something like from our container I wanna remove a class. So class list dot remove, which is the initial, and wrap it with a quote here. So if I save and give it a try, so let's say that pizza chicken, and as you can see that we are now in the back of our this regular size of our brand name or the logo name, whatever you can say, and also our this form is now in the regular size. But whenever we will come to our website first time, it will make the logo name and the search form bigger. So after that, let's actually make it responsive. So if I come to our mobile device, as you can see, it's not looking that much good. So in our mobile device, what I can do, so let's have a media query here, and here let's say that 768 pixel, and I can say something like search result and the grid gap. So let's actually decrease the grid gap. So I want a grid gap 10 pixel, and after that let's actually decrease the font size of this brand name. So for that I can say something like container dot initial, and also we'll have a brand here, and in this brand I can say something like font size 4 rem. So now you can see that in our mobile device the name or the title or the brand, whatever you can say, it's looking good. And finally we need to fix the form. So for the form, let's actually grab it. So with the class of initial, so whenever we'll have this initial class, we have the form, not the class form, it is only the form. I wanna have the max width of something like 500 pixel, and the container have the initial class. We will also change the form input. So form input will have the padding of 10 pixel, so we will actually decrease the padding, and also the font size will be our 2rem. So now if I save, as you can see that it's looking perfect for our mobile. So let's have a search. So let's say that Apple, and if I save, as you can see that we have now Apple recipe here, looking good. And let's also search, or let's also go to the iPad Pro. As you can see that in the iPad now we have in the 2-column layout, and it's also looking good. Whenever you will go to the larger device, as you can see that it's automatically going the responsive column according to the mobile or according to the device that you are using. So looking perfect for now, and that's it actually for this video. You can see that it's looking really amazing. So that's it for this video. I hope you like it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. For more video like this one, I make this kind of website related video. So to see those upcoming videos, please subscribe the channel. And my name is Arfan, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, Khuda Hafiz.